Hi, I'm James Schillinglaw for Insider Travel Report. I'm here in Barcelona, I should say. I want to be a local. And I'm here at the Almanac Barcelona. And this is a marvelous property. It actually was, I believe, built in 2018. And we're here actually in advance of the Virtuoso Symposium Conference. And I'm here with Jan Minderman, who's the Senior Vice President of Operations for all of Almanac Hotels. And we're going to do a little look into what Almanac Hotels is and where they are, and you're going to find out about all that and more on Insider Travel Report. Jan, first of all, it's been great, all too brief a stay here, but we've seen each other at ILTMs and Virtuosos. We're actually going to be on the Virtuoso conference together, but thank you so much. It's been a wonderful, all too quick stay.
Thank you so much for coming. I mean, it was great seeing you in Cannes and then saying, come on over, and a few months later you're already here. So thank you so much for giving us the opportunity.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a little longer sometimes to get over here, but it's been great to be here, and it's a marvelous hotel. Let's talk about Almanac Hotels. Give us a little history of the brand and when it started.
Yes, so really the brand was born out of frustration with the bigger brands. The owning family had always their hotels managed by larger brands, and were not really happy with that standard approach. It was all very systems driven, and the family felt that their hotels would benefit much more from a very personalized approach. And with that in mind, the owner has, without consulting a whole lot of people, terminated most of the management agreements and has thought, I can do it myself, and has sort of started slowly in 2015, 2016, and then in 2018 he finally opened the first Almanac Hotel.
And that was this one, right?
That was this one, that's absolutely. And the idea was always that they're sort of luxury lifestyle hotels in the center of great hotels.
Great cities too, and obviously, if you can see in the background, there's a little church back there, the Gaudi's, the Sagrada La Familia, which is the famous one, and this, we are actually on the rooftop of the Almanac Barcelona. So this is an amazing location, and I guess a lot of it has to do with locations, right?
It does. In terms of where we are, we always need to be in the best location possible. That's really important to us. In terms of what cities we are in, that's not actually that important to us because we are very emotional about the way in which we are growing. We're not strategic. We are family business. So if family business, for example, deem Lisbon, Budapest or other cities as interesting, then that's what we'll look at to grow. We don't look strategically at where we're going to get the most business, and I think that's what makes the brand quite special. It's the family's handwriting all over.
Okay, so right now you are in 4 locations, including this one. Talk a little bit about where you are.
Yes, so we are in Barcelona right now, where James has been staying last night. We are also in Vienna on the Park Ring, which is sort of the most prominent of streets you can really be on. The hotel is a building that overlooks the main park of the city. It's beautiful. Then we are in Prague, also right at the center, just a 3-minute walk from Wenceslas Square, which is sort of the main square of Prague. And then we have a hotel in Zagreb in Croatia, which is an old Orient Express hotel. It was built.
Yeah, and I have actually seen that one in Torda. I didn't stay there. The Esplanade, I believe.
Correct. Yes.
And then I have been in Prague. Because the only one I have not been to right now is in your Vienna property. Even though I've been to Vienna many times, and we'll have to change that one of these days. Next time I'm in.
Anytime, James. You're welcome anytime. You know that.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So, and the Esplanade will be refurbished probably from next year onwards, and then afterwards it will also become an Almanac. At the moment, we still run it under sort of independent label.
Okay. Now, what's your background in hospitality?
Well, I have always worked in hotels. I mean, I had to repeat the 11th grade because I wasn't good enough, and decided I'm not going to do that, and I just started an apprenticeship in hospitality. And funny enough, within the first 4 months I was fired. Apparently not because of my poor performance, but the hotel wasn't doing particularly well. I then started another apprenticeship again in hotels, which I then finished successfully, and then I moved immediately after to London and have always worked in luxury hotels. We've worked at the Ritz in London. Some of you may be familiar with the Stafford, which is quite well known in the advisor community. And then I have opened the first Rosewoods under the ownership of Sonia Cheng. That was Rosewood London.
Oh, wow. She's now the president of everything, yeah.
She is, yes. And that's been really a great way to sort of understand hospitality and real luxury. It's really helped me. I enjoyed that.
Now, what is the character of an Almanac hotel? What should travel advisors expect for their clients when they arrive at an Almanac hotel?
They should expect that we do things differently. We're trying to be very personal. I mean, I am, for example, the main point of contact for most of the consortia agents. It's quite unusual in my role, I realize that. But we feel as a small brand, what we can offer is that personalized service. And we can really take care of the advisors and their clients. We try to do things outside the box. We do a few crazy packages. I mean, for example, in Vienna, we have Gustav Klimt. Some of you may know the famous artist. Sure. We actually have one of his paintings in one of our suites, and you can book that suite, the Klimt suite, with a Klimt package. We had a package here in Barcelona, which is all centered around art, whereby a local artist has created a painting. We've hidden it in a suite, and if the guests were able to find it, they could keep the painting.
Whoa, that's a pretty good deal.
So whatever we do based on our 3 brand pillars, which are basically local. Everything we do should be as local as possible, from the design through to the F&B and the way in which we deliver our service. Then it's the plant-forward kitchen, where we basically put vegetables at the center without neglecting meat. So there's everything for everyone, because we want to be inclusive and not exclusive, but vegetables take the center stage. And the third pillar is local art. And we try to sort of package these 3 things up in a way that people can feel that these things are really being lived and breathed in the hotels.
So you did mention food and beverage, and obviously I experienced your food here last night, which was extraordinary, even though I got here quite late. But you kept the kitchen open for me. That was great, and I got to have a wonderful dinner here. But a lot of it was sort of plant-based, which is very interesting.
Yes, it is. It's something that people are not used to, and some of them are a little apprehensive when they first sit down. I've recently had a fam trip with 30 agents, part of the Asta Cruise Expo. And we had a plant-forward dinner, and after that dinner there was agents that said to me, Jan, I mean, first I didn't really know, and now I can't get enough of it. I know. It's really all about the way in which you are presenting it to people, and if it tastes fantastic, you don't need meat, and even the biggest meat eaters will love it.
Well, last night I had this wonderful gazpacho, beetroot gazpacho with berries and everything else. And I just sat there, and it was just extraordinary. And I really didn't want a lot, having just got off a flight. And it was really the perfect meal. I had a quick kind of appetizer, then I had the gazpacho, and then I had a rice, almost a rice dish that I had, chicken and rice. So that sounds very simpler, but it was wonderful.
I'm glad you liked it. It's very important to us.
So that's what you have in the other hotels too, or do you? I also understand you probably reflect the regions that you're in as well, right?
We do. Most of the food and beverage products that we get are from the region. That's really, really important to us. Wherever we can, they're local and they're organic. That's an absolute must for us. Because there is also that sustainability part that's becoming more important to us.
Now, what about accommodations? What should guests expect from you for that?
Now, our hotels are really design-centric. They're all quite contemporary, yet timeless, I would say. And we really put great effort into that. They really distinguish themselves from the other hotels, from the competition. And here, the Barcelona property has got a sort of upscale luxury Mediterranean feel to it, whereas Vienna, despite it being the same interior designer who sits here in Barcelona, that has sort of a really luxury coffee house style. There's a lot more darker woods, darker tones, beautiful parquet. And then in Prague, where we actually have the hotel branded as Almanac X, which is the sort of slightly younger sister of...
I forgot about that. You do have that brand too, right?
We do. It's a slightly younger, slightly poppier brand. It's more lifestyle focused. It predominantly is based on the number of rooms, because it's 200 rooms, which is quite large for us, whereas a typical Almanac has sort of 100, 120 rooms. Yeah. but also there again, really a great focus on design. That is there's particularly centered around art, and is also centered around the sort of local architecture in Prague.
Well, I know some of your hotels you take existing buildings and classic buildings in Prague, and I believe in Vienna, right? This one is actually new build. It's a new construction, right?
Well, it's half. So the owners bought it, and this was sort of a derelict office building that was no longer used. And next door was also an office building that was part of a really old, well-known insurance company in Barcelona. And we have retained the historic.
That's right. So that is the historical part there. I saw that the front of the hotel is all very modern, and you have incredible atriums and just beautiful. The whole thing really comes together.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really important to us. Ideally, we'd like to have hotels that have history and historic facades. So despite the hotels inside being really, really contemporary, it's this kind of contrast that we really like as part of our brand pillars.
Now, where else do you hope to expand in the future?
Well, we are at the moment in the process of planning our hotel in Budapest. I think it's important to note that we don't manage at the moment other people's hotels. We manage our own hotels. So opening a hotel for us is not just hotel management agreement. Opening a hotel for us is buying a property, developing the property, and then operating the property.
You are owners and operators, right?
Yes, we are, absolutely.
That doesn't happen too often these days.
No, it doesn't, because it's very complex. And it's probably also not the most cost efficient, but as I said, the company isn't always particularly strategic. It's emotional. It's a family business. And we believe that that's the reason why we are actually able to compete with the big guys. They're all doing a wonderful job. And if you come in like us, we are not affiliated with anyone. We work with wonderful communities such as Virtuoso, which has been amazing to us. And just being able to engage with them and being different really helps us to set us apart from the competition.
Well, I understand a lot of our Virtuoso colleagues were actually up on this rooftop bar last night, right?
Yes, we had the honor of having the senior leadership team for dinner last night, which was nerve-wracking. I hadn't slept the 3 nights before, as you can imagine.
I'm sure you did find out. I'll have to ask. Well, you're going to be on board too. I'll ask them together. But I think it was a marvelous experience from what I saw. Now, what else what would you tell travel advisors about the best way that their clients can experience Almanac hotels? What are the kind of things that they should tell their clients before they stay?
They should tell them, get to know the people that work in the property. Really get to know them. And ideally, the advisor should already contact either me or my office to make sure that I alert the hotels of these VIPs coming in. Right. And then we'll obviously look after them, and we will know so much about them already that the experience will be as personal as possible. So it's all about communicating the details, communicating their likes and dislikes, because the more we know, the better we can serve them. And that's really, really important to us. It's building those connections really quite close in, because our hotels aren't all that big. Right. You will see the same faces again and again. And because we are a family business, our turnover in the front of house department is also a lot lower. So it is much easier to become familiar with the people that actually work there, and it's very important to us.
Well, I have to tell you, even in this very short time, I've had great encounters with both the guy who was my waiter last night, who was amazing. We were talking about all different kinds of things, because I was eating alone, and so we talked about football. Since yesterday was a very big day here in Barcelona, where Barcelona beat Madrid. Yes. So everybody was talking about that, and then we're talking about that, and then the young man who took me up to the room and showed me around, he was a great guy, and so we started chatting about stuff. So the staff is very personable, I got to tell you.
It has to be. It's so important. It really is exactly what sets us apart, and that's also the reason why you will see the owner's daughter or myself at least once a month, 3 or 4 days in the hotels, because it's not, you can't delegate quality and service. It is so important that everyone is involved and everyone plays a part in delivering that service. And I think, for me, some of the big companies tend to forget that. It's not just about SOPs, policies and procedures. It's really just about being on the floor and having those conversations with guests and advisors, because I shape the company strategy based on the feedback that I'm getting from advisors and clients. And I think that's also, or I hope that that's what our guests and advisors are also noticing.
Fantastic. Now, where can travel advisors go to learn more about Almanac Hotels?
Well, they should go to almanachothels.com. Okay. or anyone is really absolutely welcome to contact me directly, and we can put my email address into the link of the report.
We'll do that you can look at the bottom and find Jan's email. Jan, I want to thank you first of all for being such an excellent host. We're going to be doing an interview with the general manager of this hotel as well, but I've long wanted to, since we met in ILTM in Cannes, and I've long wanted to try out Almanac hotels. I was lucky enough to try just as part of a visit to Czech Republic a couple of years ago, a wonderful place in Prague, and I was near your hotel just a few weeks ago, and I didn't get a chance to come over to Vienna, unfortunately, but next time, I got to tell you.
We'll have you anytime, James, you know that.
Again, thank you, Jan. And here we are, look at this, we're here in Barcelona, overlooking incredible sights and the views of the church, and this is Insider Travel Report.